Today, we're diving into the wild and unpredictable world of racing and exploring some of the most unforgettable moments of driver meltdowns and temper tantrums on the track. Get ready to witness the ultimate showdowns of speed and emotions. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know about our latest videos, and you won't miss out on the thrilling action. First, we have Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel has been a speed demon and a natural-born racer since a young age. At the tender age of 3, he started racing go-karts and quickly proved himself to be a prodigious talent in Europe. He worked his way up the ranks to become a 4-time world champion, but he had a bit of a slip-up during a race, where he let his rage get the better of him. A devastating first lap of the 2016 Russian Grand Prix, and Sebastian Vettel is in the driver's seat. But then disaster strikes, not once, but twice. Vettel's Ferrari was hit from the rear under heavy braking at Turn 2, resulting in a right rear puncture. Vettel attempted to continue, but was unable to maintain full speed at Turn 3, slowing down in front of Kvyat. Unfortunately, Kvyat collided with the Ferrari once again, causing Vettel to spin off into the barriers. He was not a happy camper, and he made his rage known to anyone who would listen. Vettel's frustration was palpable as he shouted down the radio, exclaiming, "For fark's sake, man," and asking, "Who are you?" As previously stated, he was not a happy camper, and he vented his fury. This moment was a pivotal one, as Kvyat was demoted to the junior team after the incident. 2 weeks prior, Vettel had publicly admonished Kvyat in the cool-down room after a podium finish, citing an earlier collision that he believed was Kvyat's fault. 2 weeks prior, after a race where they both finished on the podium, when Kvyat asked innocently what had happened at the start, Vettel shouted, "You came in like a torpedo. If I keep going on the same line, we crash." So the tension was palpable, and the drama was intense as this saga unfolded in the world of Formula One. Sebastian Vettel stunned the racing world once more at the 2016 Mexican Grand Prix with a massive outburst on track. However, with tensions running high as he found himself stuck behind Max Verstappen, Vettel's frustration boiled over, leading to a flurry of heated language and even telling the race director to fark off. It seemed as though disciplinary action was imminent, but Vettel quickly took responsibility for his actions, showing true sportsmanship. He apologized in person to the race director and sent letters of apology to everyone he insulted. And you know what? It worked, and the incident was eventually resolved. Vettel was commended for his sincerity and for committing to keeping his cool in the future. It just goes to show that even when emotions run high, there's always a chance to make things right. Second, we have Lewis Hamilton. The calm and collected 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton, couldn't hide his frustration during last year's Dutch Grand Prix. Apparently, he was really frustrated with his team's strategy decision, which cost him the chance to win the race. He even let out a few expletives on the team radio. He was forced to race on old tires in the closing stages, while his colleague George Russell was given new ones. However, he ended up dropping from 1st to 4th place, while Red Bull's Max Verstappen cruised to victory. In a moment of pure racing emotion, he exploded over the team radio, exclaiming, "I can't believe you guys farking screwed me, man. I'm so pissed off right now." It just goes to show that even the greatest drivers can feel the heat of competition and the pressure to succeed. As a result, Hamilton is a passionate individual who cannot apologize for his feelings. He did concede that he overstepped his bounds and expressed his regret for the reaction. However, he feels that the team knows that his passion for the sport runs deep. Third, we have Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is one of the most talented and exciting drivers on the Formula One grid, but he's also known for his fiery temper. He's had plenty of expletive-filled radio outbursts over the years, and some of his most famous moments have come when he's been caught up in collisions or equipment failures. One such moment was at the 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix, where Verstappen was forced to retire after his Red Bull suffered a loss of power. No power, fark, he yelled over the radio as he tried to navigate the opening corners. Unfortunately, Pierre Gasly hit him, causing him to spin out and crash into the gravel, ending his race. Verstappen's anger has also been on display during on-track incidents, such as when he collided with Lance Stroll at the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. After the incident, Verstappen shouted, "Is this farking guy blind? What the fark is wrong with him? Jesus Christ." But perhaps Verstappen's most heated moment came at the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix, when he collided with Esteban Ocon while leading the race. Verstappen was livid after the incident, calling Ocon a farking idiot and saying he hoped he wouldn't run into him in the paddock. In fact, Verstappen did encounter Ocon at the weighbridge, and the two drivers had a physical altercation that resulted in Verstappen being hit with 2 days of public service by the FIA. Despite his temper, Verstappen is undoubtedly one of the most exciting drivers in Formula One. But when things don't go his way, you can be sure he won't be afraid to let his frustrations show. Fourth, we have Kimi Raikkonen. Kimi Raikkonen, known for his laid-back attitude, could get quite fired up over team radio. At the 2013 Indian Grand Prix, the relationship between Lotus and Raikkonen had broken down, and trackside operations director Alan Permane told Raikkonen to get out of the farking way of teammate Romain Grosjean. Raikkonen responded, "Don't shout there. I get out of the way when I have a chance, but not during a fast corner." This led to Lotus issuing a public statement after fan backlash. There was also an incident at Monaco when Raikkonen appeared to threaten Sergio Perez after being hit by the McLaren driver into the chicane. "That farking idiot. I want to hit him when I see him for sure. He hit me now on the rear." On the other hand, Raikkonen is also known for his humorous radio messages, such as "Just leave me alone. I know what to do," as he closed in on a race victory, and his "You forgot to connect the drink" exchange with his engineer. However, Raikkonen's most famous radio tirade was during the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, when he found himself being pushed in his car to the end of the pit lane to resume after a red flag. Without his gloves and steering wheel, Raikkonen shouted to engineer Mark Slade to get my gloves and steering wheel. Gloves, Mark, gloves, and continued with steering wheel, gloves, and steering wheel. Yeah? Aye, steering wheel. Somebody tell them to give it to me. Come on, move, which was quite rebid. Fifth, we have Sergio Perez's. Sergio Perez's nightmarish session at the Australian Grand Prix is now being discussed. The Red Bull driver had one of his worst days since joining Formula One, and it was evident in his team radio messages. He suffered from a series of incidents during the FP3 practice session, which had a significant impact on his qualifying preparation. Unfortunately, this carried over into qualifying, and Perez found himself starting the race from the 20th position on the grid. Things began to unravel when he locked up his front right tires at turn 3, causing him to run wide. A few laps later, he went off track again at turn 1, and then once more at the penultimate corner of the circuit, just before the session ended. Despite turning into the left-hander, he skidded off the track and ran through the grass before rejoining. Perez's frustration was evident in his team radio message when he said, "I cannot believe this session." It remains to be seen how frustrated he was during the race, and it's definitely going to be a catastrophe for the Mexican driver. Well, that's the end of it. It just goes to show that even the best of the best can lose their cool under the intense pressure of the sport. And while it's always fascinating to see what happens when emotions run high, let us know in the comments section below, which driver do you think has had the biggest radio meltdown in Formula One history? And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting Formula One content.